Welcome back. In this video I will show how to create orders in the Rifle and Spade series games. That is Gallipoli 1915, Churchill's Greatest Gamble, and Mons 1914, The Mad Minute. I'll use Gallipoli as an example. I'll be using planning maps because personally I prefer planning maps to objective markers because the objective markers do give away some of the information to the opponent and I'd rather keep them in suspense. You also have a nice record of the game afterwards. So here we have a typical afternoon situation after the landing at Anzac. The Australians have got up the hill to an extent. They're disorganised, they've run out of officer points and they're frankly out of steam. We have the New Zealand division that has landed in General Reserve, and of course the Ottomans wondering what they're going to do with them. Now, on the Ottoman side, the Ottoman 57th Regiment here has already got attack orders to attack down this ridge from Chunuk by ear all the way to Pluggy's Plateau here. You can see here I've drawn on the planning map, I've used green because the regiment colour of the 57th is green. So there they started on Kojacem and Tepe. I've marked that the 3rd Battalion's in support, and here I have the 1st Battalion travelling to the north of the main ridge line, ending up down here on these two hexes in Pluggy's Plateau. 2nd Battalion to the south of the ridge line. I've marked their exact line of march, and they're going to end up here on the end of the 400 plateau. And you can see I've given each of them a 2-hex battalion objective. Now I've separated them either side of the ridge because you're always allowed to travel 1 hex either side of your line of march, which means that the ridge in the middle is fair game for both battalions. So I can set up some flanking attacks. Although of course these cliffs here are going to limit what the 1st Battalion on the north can do. So if we pull that out of the way and have a look at the map, there you can see 1st Battalion on the north, 2nd Battalion on the south, and in the middle here I think we have machine guns and a battalion, half battalion of the 1st Battalion, and there in the rear is the 3rd Battalion in support. Now their objectives take them all the way through here to the New Zealanders, so I suspect they're not going to make it. Now the question is, it's the Ottoman command phase, what are they going to do? So they still have the 3rd Battalion in support. Now ideally I'd send it out here on some wide flanking move. Perhaps come in here, or perhaps actually come up Walker's Ridge to this point. But the 3rd Battalion is in support, and if you look at the rules, when you commit an in-support unit, well, it's supporting the existing objectives of the regiment in this case. So it has to take one of the existing regiments, objectives down here, and it has to stay within the channel of march, meaning the area of the map between the two extremes of the existing lines of march. So basically it's going to have to go down the ridge. If I commit in support, if I want to go that way, that's a change to the attack order because I've changed the objective in the line of march, and I'd actually have to roll to change orders. Let's have a look at the army status display and work out which is easier to do. So here we are on the army status display. Use the 57th Regiment, and to change orders it needs a 31. So you can see it's currently on attack. 30 to 1 is not great, and in fact it's probably going to start running out of officer points and failing. So if we look at the orders change DRM, so we've got a 31. If we change from attack to attack, that would be a +10, which means we need to roll 21. That's not very good, so that would be for the option where we swing wide and north. On the other hand, if we're just going to commit units in support, that's -20. So we could roll a 51 and that would be sufficient. Now, given that we know that it's probably going to run out of officer points soon, I'm going to figure that bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I am going to roll for committing units in support. And I roll, and lo and behold, I get a 46. So the orders change is successful. So therefore I take the map and I draw on it, and I think what we do, looking at the main map, it's got to be within the order of march. We might as well just send it straight down the middle. This is the 3rd Battalion. It's going to go all the way down here, and we have to choose an existing objective, so we'll send it across. It's a little bit moot because, and I'll send it into this hex because I don't think they're going to make it, but they'll chew up more Australians, hopefully draw the New Zealand reserve onto them, because I'm about to do something really cunning with the 72nd Regiment. So back here we have the 72nd Regiment, which has just been activated, meaning it's been released by Corps, and it's in General Reserve, which makes it very easy to change orders. So I've got a chance to do something. Now, looking at the ASD, changing orders for the 77th, the base, 72nd, sorry, base, I'd need a 43. And if I'm going to go from General Reserve to attack, say defence first, that would be a -30, so I'd need a 73. Going to attack, it's a little bit more difficult, -20, meaning I need a 63. However, I'm going to take the historical Ottoman mindset, which is that my goal is to push these enemy into the sea, and I'm going to attack. And in particular, I'm going to look at this southern flank here, because as I said, what my plan is my overreaching plan is to send the 3rd Battalion down here, get the Anzac player to commit the New Zealanders to try to hold this ridge here, and then launch an attack this way. We'll see. So I need to roll to 63, and we get 44, so they succeed. So now, let me set up to draw. I'll just move the counters out of the way so that I can put the map here. And I use a red pen because the colour of the 72nd is red. And I'm going to look at the map here. Looking at it, I think we might try to come through these two units and get as far as this line here, the 400 plateau. So I'll do the classic thing of, 2 up front, 1 back. So, well, that's unfortunate because I've already got, I'd like to go all the way to here, you see. But that would make the objectives of the 72nd Regiment overlap with the objectives of the 57th. And you are not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to have overlapping objectives. You're not allowed to cross the streams because bad things happen if you do that. So what I will do then is just stop short. So I'll take these 2 hexes for the 1st Battalion, these 2 for the 2nd Battalion, and I'll put 3rd Battalion in support, and I'll have to mark the route of approach. I think what we'll do is we'll come around the south here, and looking at it, just to come as quickly as we can, we'll come to here, and then we'll separate, and I've got 1 hex either side, so I'll stay 1 off the beach. That's going to be the 2nd Battalion. And the 1st Battalion will separate here, and we'll come off. Yeah, I have to avoid the 27th there. So we'll come in like this, we'll go up the hill there. It's the 1st Battalion and 3rd Battalion in support. So you can see a few things I've had to do here. I've had to make sure that I don't conflict with either the objectives, here again, or the routes of march. And so you can get yourself in quite a tangle if you're not planning. And again, I'm thinking at the higher level, which is what am I going to make the opponent do with their reserves? I'm going to try to draw them away. In fact, playing the free landing scenario, we have seen several Entente victories, because if you come in with all 5 divisions at once, you can cause the Ottoman player to have to send all their reserves scattered over the map, and then bang, you just land where they're not, and you go straight through to the objective. Which I think could have been done historically. If they wouldn't have sent the French off to Asia properly, and the Royal Navy Division up to Bulair, they would have had 5 divisions on day 1, and I think they would have carried the day. So there you see it. That's an example of writing attack orders in Gallipoli. Same system works in Mons. So you can see not only how you set the objectives, you make the rolls, you set up the lines of march, but also how you can use attack orders to force the opponent to make mistakes, to send their reserves in the wrong direction. Of course, that requires you, in turn, keeping your own units back in general reserve, which is usually easier said than done. Mons 1914, The Mad Minute, is available for pre-order from gmtgames.com.